A teacher once gave his students an assignment. He grouped them into two groups, and for one group, he gave them 10 days to make 10 pots, and for the second group, he gave them 10 days to make one pot. I know by now you're probably confused whether this is the correct video you tapped on or not. Well, don't worry, stick around and learn how to make the amazing Canadian flag, as well as get some few extra tips that will help you as a beginning beading artist. Having worked on a variety of bead art for over 5 years, I'm here now to share that knowledge with you. Hello everyone, and welcome aboard this fun and creative journey as I share with you skills I've gained in a field that I am genuinely passionate in. I'm Stike and I love art. Hi guys, and welcome to today's video tutorial. Today we are making from scratch the famous Canadian flag, and also share with you some tips that can help you when you're starting beadwork. On to step 1. We begin by listing down the materials that we'll require. The 0.30mm nylon monofilament line or the fishing line. Number 2, we'll require a nail cutter or scissors. And number 3, we'll require the beads, which for this flag are the red and white colors. On to step 2, which is you cut your fishing line into a length that you'll be comfortable working with, which is ideally between 10 to 15 inches. This totally depends with your level of expertise, so if you're beginning, I'd recommend you cut a shorter fishing line. On to step 3, which is we begin by picking 3 red beads on your right hand with the fishing line and 1 bead on the left, and crisscross with 1 bead from the left. If you're not familiar with crisscrossing, it's basically passing the fishing line through the opposite end of the bead from the left, forming a cross. You then hold both the 2 ends of the fishing line and pull the red bead down. By doing this, make sure your fishing line is balanced. That means both tips of the fishing line will be parallel and equally balanced. On to step 4, where you pick a red bead on the right, 1 bead on the left, and then a final bead that you crisscross onto. If you've watched most of our previous videos, you'd notice that this step we have done several times. We basically repeat this 4th step until we get to the end of our first column of beads. Making this first pattern is quite simple because we're basically just using the red beads to get to the desired width before we start making the maple leaf. The maple leaf is the leaf that's at the center of the Canadian flag. And also, for those who know more about the history of the Canadian flag, kindly let us know on the comment section below about its history, why it has a leaf, and the meaning of the 2 colors of this flag. A big thanks for the consistent love from all of you guys. We really appreciate your comments, your feedback, and our greatest joy has been when we get messages telling us that our tutorials were able to help you make art from scratch to finish, and for some, they were even able to sell them and earn some extra money. Some of you have decided to make this a side hustle to get that extra cash and we are really proud of you guys. Please don't forget to leave a like by tapping the thumbs up button, for it really helps get this content to more people. So kindly don't forget to do that. Thanks also for the numerous requests that you've been asking us to make for you. We have most of them noted down and we are working on fulfilling them. Don't forget to switch on your notification bells so that every time we have a new video, you'll be first to know, and it might be the request you asked us to make. This video was also a request from one of our subscribers, and I hope you learn how to make this Canadian flag. As you can see in the video, we are making quite some progress with repeating the same pattern we have been practicing all along through most of our videos. As we continue to build our Canadian flag, I feel it will be good to share with you some tips that will help you as a beginner in art. On to tip number 1. One of the fears we face when starting is the fear of what our family and friends will think of us. Let me explain. For some people, they think that art is not an actual thing, and some of them look down upon art and artists. But times are changing, and in this era, you can turn your passion in art or whatever it is you're passionate in into something good. So forget that fear of what people will think and kindly just start. Once you make your first piece of art, you'll realize that it's a beautiful journey and worth every single step. On to our second tip, that is, the materials don't matter when you're starting. This means that you can start with just the beads or materials that are readily and easily available to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact colors you see on our tutorials or the same quality. You can even start with beads that were stitched somewhere on maybe an old cloth and are not in use. The point is to get you started, and once you do it, you can eventually look for the quality that you want after you learn. On to our third tip, which is don't worry about the numbers. When you begin, you may be anxious to make sales of your artwork, and it may discourage you if you focus too much on this, since it's not easy to make much sales in the beginning. On the contrary, focusing on improving the quality of your work through doing more and more artwork. This will give you the experience required, and when time for sales comes, you'll be sure that you're selling a good quality product to your client. On to tip number 4, which is focus on quantity and not quality when you're beginning. I know this sounds quite contradicting, right? But truth is, you'll make several errors before you start making quality products. So when beginning, embrace the failures and don't give up. You'd rather make 4 wrong products or beaded bracelets than focus on making one perfect one at the beginning and spend a whole day or spend a lot of hours just focused on one doing so. Quality isn't that important when you're beginning, but quantity is more important than quality at the beginning. There's a story that goes, Our teacher once gave his students an assignment. He divided the students into two groups. One was told to make 10 pots in 10 days, and the other was told to make 1 pot in 10 days. At the end of the assignment, the teacher collected all the pots to check on their quality. The teacher found out that the students that made the 10 pots in 10 days ended up making the best quality of pots at the end, since they were learning from the mistakes they made on the previous pots, so they kept on improving on their workmanship. There are a lot of mistakes that you will do along the way to making your perfect art piece. So when learning, you have to allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them. On to our 5th tip, which is don't worry about your niche. When starting, you may get overwhelmed by the many types of art available. Like in beading, we have bracelets, necklaces, anklets, rings, just to name a few. By thinking about which one to major in when beginning might end up overwhelming you. What you should do, since you have time, is to try learning the different types of arts, one after the other, and trust me, you'll know the one that works for you over time. Remember, in art and basically life, patience plays a big role to genuine success. On to our 6th tip, which is patience and consistency. If you're new to art, you have to always remember that all great things take time for them to succeed. You have to spare some time to practice this art that you want to pursue as you build up your experience and skills in this art field. Remember, just like most things in life, you can't be successful overnight. Take this video for example. You can see that even though we are experienced in beadwork, it still takes us more than 20 minutes just to make this Canadian flag. So don't worry if you find that your progress is slow. Just don't give up and be patient. And at the end, you're going to get the results that you want. And our final tip is just do it. If you've managed to come this far on this video and you've never done beading and would like to try it, the best advice is just do it. You could get those beads that have been laying around and start your beading today. There is a saying that goes, one of the best times to plant a tree was 10 years ago, and the second best time is now. So don't worry that you didn't start earlier, but today is a great time to start, and you can see we are almost done beading the Canadian flag. Please let me know on the comment section if these tips were helpful. As we wind up, I want to give a big thanks to all of you for your support and helping us reach over 1,000 subscribers. This is a milestone that I never thought would happen for this channel, and we are really grateful. Also, thanks for lending us your attention and allowing me to be able to share with you these tutorials and generally talk about what I love, I'm really forever grateful for giving us this chance. So, like I said, thanks a lot for your support, and in return for that, I promise to keep teaching about the topics and tutorials you want me to talk about, and to keep sharing my experiences along the way, so you could replicate the same steps and end up with beautiful pieces of art. And for some, you can also end up earning some extra cash in your pocket. I can't end the video without saying this. Thank you guys so much for smashing that like button and subscribing to our channel. See you on the next video.